We've had a few new pieces of information about the Final Fantasy VII Remake in the past month, ranging from an interview with Yoshinori Kitase and Famitsu, where he spoke about the difficult task of maintaining the quality throughout each installment, through to Tetsuya Nomura revealing some new screenshots of the Monaco Anime Gaming International Conference 2017. Now, we have a few new morsels of information which come via an interview that Finnaland, Final Fantasy Dream, Kingdom Hearts Destiny and Gamers Flag conducted with Nomura while he was at the event in Monaco. To start things off, Nomura explained that he much prefers actually sitting in the role of producer, but because he entered the company as a designer, that's the role he still also occupies. This explains why over the years he's become much more involved in the capacity of creative producer, while still contributing main character designs. He then went on to talk about social media, specifically why he's so distant. He noted that nowadays, with the new modes of communication, we can be very close to fans. We notice it with other developers who communicate a lot. However, he is displeased by the tendency to find situations where, as we have become closer, we have to pay attention to the information we share. This has led to him becoming much more guarded about what he shares, and it's not an approach he's actually too keen on. However, someone who has now left the company once told him that without keeping a distance from the fans, they become exposed to the risk of losing their objectivity. To compensate for this lack of fan interaction, Nomura said he reads lots of reviews, but doesn't pay too much attention to what's actually in them, otherwise he'll start thinking too much. Next, Gamers Flag asked about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Well, they actually asked about whether we would be seeing an HD Remaster Collection for the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, similar to what he's been doing with Kingdom Hearts. This could then include Before Crisis, Crisis Core and Dirge Cerberus, and Nomura's response to this was actually rather interesting. It was basically a no, but the reason why kinda sticks out. However, I'm also mindful this interview was translated from Japanese to French to English, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. I also want to highlight that in the French version of the interview, there was a side note that the Japanese to French interpreter struggled a bit with the answer to this question, but that note was removed from the English version. Anyway, according to the interview, Nomura's reason for saying no was that the Final Fantasy VII Remake will be different to the original game, and that if they did create an HD Remaster Collection, the games would hardly have an overall coherence. He then went on to say that the difficulty would come from the fact there's no continuity between the compilation and the remake at the moment. Now, this could be taken in quite a few ways, but my interpretation is that the Final Fantasy VII Remake, while telling the same story, will be telling it in a different way to the original. Think about how Crisis Core used some creative liberties when dealing with the Nibelheim incident to insert Genesis into the narrative. With the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I therefore feel as though they will be incorporating parts of the compilation directly into it. And if that's the case, then having an HD Remaster Collection wouldn't make much sense. You'd go from seeing scenes portrayed one way to then looking at potentially the same scenes portrayed in a very different way, and this could just end up getting rather confusing. Another possibility is that the Final Fantasy VII Remake might go down the path of Lost Order, a project that was of course supervised by Nomura and has since been dubbed non-canon. They may be choosing to retell certain events, and if that's the case, it definitely wouldn't make sense for them to reintroduce conflicting versions for people to play in preparation, or just alongside the Final Fantasy VII Remake. It kind of goes back to an original point that Nomura was making, where he referenced the fact that the original Final Fantasy VII is already available on the PS4. So if you're looking to pick up the Final Fantasy VII Remake, you don't want to just play the same game again. Now you can't quite say the same about the other games within the compilation, but my feeling is that they want to kind of pretend these don't exist, and will just pull parts of them that they feel will improve the storytelling. Perhaps an odd comparison, but it kind of feels similar to how Disney have treated the expanded Star Wars universe. And to go along with this, later in the interview, Final Fantasy Dream asked whether the maturity that was so pronounced within the original Final Fantasy VII would still be present. Nomura replied by simply stating that a lot of things will change, but the essence of the universe will not. That is one of the things that will remain intact. So yeah, it sounds like the Final Fantasy VII Remake will be vastly different, to the point where they don't want to remaster any of the compilation games as it wouldn't make for a coherent experience. Is this something you guys can get behind? Would you even want to see HD remasters of Crisis Core and Dirge Cerberus? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to support our channel, please head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/FFunion. These awesome folks have already done so, so why not join them? Alright, thanks for watching guys, this is Daryl signing out. I'll see you next time.